So before we want to like talk about preventing common attacks, we want to know what they are. So the three most common types, which organizations are privy to, are phishing, ransomware, and then working the LAN. Working the LAN isn't mostly a common attack. It's basically what happens after that. So phishing is one of the most common attacks that are subject to, the users are subject to, and the issue is they're becoming more and more sophisticated. So initially, we used to have these generic phishing attempts coming in, and anyone who knew what they looked like would easily make them out. That is no longer the case. They are becoming more and more sophisticated. You have URL spoofing, you have emails with proper signatures, proper images. People take time to research organizations which are trying to spoof, and sometimes it is almost nigh on impossible to actually differentiate between an actual email and a spoof email, especially if you're talking to a specific vendor and you're not completely across all of their specifics as well. The other is ransomware, so which usually comes in the form of attachments. Again, this has become more sophisticated. You have more traditional ransomware applications, and then you have sometimes PowerShell scripts embedded inside a document, say Excel documents, which when run might create a God mode user on your device, and then that gives access to someone else to come in and then wreak havoc. And there's where the Microsoft suite of features come in, especially Office ATP, Advanced Threat Protection. And there are a few features here that we are going to talk about which affect these type of attacks directly. So they are safe links, safe attachments, and then there's another part of view which gives you an overall view of campaign views and attack simulator. So first of all, let's go into safe links. So imagine an email is coming into an inbox for one of your users. So their first three processes is same for any O365 user. So this is Exchange Online Protection. So Exchange Online Protection checks the IP, signature-based antivirus checks, anti-spam filters, so on and so forth. Now, after all that checks, the email arrives in an inbox. But what happens if there was an exploit which couldn't be picked up by those? And that is where safe links come in. So one way which people are trying to get in is people send in links inside emails, and they're genuine emails. After a while, they might change those emails to now point towards something which is malicious. The issue with traditional way of doing things is like during the initial check, it was okay, but now that link has become armed. So what do you do about it? What SAFELINKS does is it basically rewrites the URL to point it towards a different server, which is a Microsoft Exchange Online Protection web server. So whenever the user clicks on that link, he is taken to that web server where the Exchange Online Protection servers open that link, scan through that one, see if it is a malicious link or not, either if it's within the list of documented domains or IPs, or if they find something which is malicious there. And if that is so, the user will be given a warning that this site has malicious softwares and they have been blocked access to it. So this means you don't need to have constant monitoring at the email site. So you don't constantly need to be aware of, okay, if an email came in, there's a link, do I simply need to re-scan it or something like that? Microsoft does it at the time of opening. So initially, there's a bit of an issue with this system. So when you would mouse over the safe links, it will give you an entire long link to one of the SAFELINKS web servers. Now, we spent years trying to train users to, okay, have a look at links before clicking them. And those links sort of look dodgy as well. So people would stop using or stop clicking on links which were actually genuine. Since then, that has been changed. So in Outlook, when you mouse it over, it actually goes to the same link that is showing. The underlying redirected link is not shown. And it's very, very easy to set up. It's simply wrong side, one portal inside the admin portal where you can simply enable safe links, and you can have further policies which depend upon it later on. So if you want to add a list of your own blocked domains onto it as well. So you don't want to be opening these ones, which might not be part of Microsoft's list of malicious domains or IPs. And this is the image that the user will see. This is the official warning. So if they click on a URL which has triggered SAFELINKS, they'll say, okay, this website has been classified as malicious, and they will not be allowed to go onto that. So that enables us to prevent users from going into applications or websites which are malicious. So a lot of times the issue is a user might go to a different website, it looks genuine, they might enter their credentials there, but that was a dodgy website and now the credentials are leaked. This allows you to stop it on the first go. And if they still go on and do it, that's where MFA comes in as well. Actually, the next one is safe attachments. So now we were talking about links before, but now let's talk about attachments. Similar to what I mentioned before, so the first part of this security process is done by Exchange Online Protection, and that is the same for a normal O365 user and one who is not using safe attachments. The difference between safe attachments is what it does is Microsoft takes the attachments, takes it to one of their own sandbox environments, and basically runs it and see if it's malicious or not. So it is essentially detonating it inside a safe environment. If it is malicious, the attachment file is not forwarded to the user. If it passes a check, the user gets the attachment. There are two different ways of setting this up. So there's one way is the email comes in, you see the email come in and you see there's an attachment, but you can't access it. And it'll show that it's this scan being undergoing, and that's basically this detonation which is occurring. The other way of setting this up is to do that initially, and when the user gets the email, the attachment already has gone through the scan. And this is an image of an email with an attachment which turned out to have malicious software. So it can either be malicious software or it could be even Excel files which have malicious PowerShell scripts, and they're given a warning. So say this file is malicious. So that is how we can stop certain attacks. But if you want to have a greater view of what our attack surface is, there's a new feature in the ATP portal, which is the campaign view. So what are campaigns? So these are email campaigns targeting users, which might be phishing, which might be using attachments, but they're part of one specific organized event. So with campaign views, you can see the aggregate view. So you can see, okay, when did this start occurring? These are the emails trends which are coming from these for this attack. Where are they coming from? What is the source IP? What is the source address? And who are the users being targeted? Who are the users clicking through it? Who are the ones who are actually most affected by it? So this is the view inside the portal, and as you can see, so in the top you can get a view of the entire campaign. So you can see how many emails per day are coming in regarding this attack. And then it breaks it down. So these emails came from these source IPs. From there, these were the source domains, so on and so forth. And eventually, this is like one of the important bits, where they ended up. Did they end up in a quarantine? Did they end up in a junk folder? Or did they end up in the user's inbox? So this allows you to see, okay, how your security setup is holding up. If there's a large amount of emails going through the inbox, maybe that's a part of concern. And once you have enabled safe links and safe attachments, there'll be another thing going on. So once it goes onto the inbox, how many users clicked and safe links or safe attachments was triggered, and it prevented that from happening. So this can show you the efficiency of the measures that you have implemented so far. And again, at the bottom, you can see the URLs which are coming in, and you can go into a bit more depth. This is still a new feature, so they're adding more and more in. But this is a quite a good view of getting a top-down view of attack vectors. Now, we know that there's thing happening, and if you see a campaign view, you can see loads of users clicking through things, and you want to see how successful, how in danger users are of clicking through those things, and if the training that you've provided in your enterprise, is it actually being followed? Before, you used to have to do simulated attacks. Now that's a part of the Microsoft feature set as well. So as you can see in this case, there's a very smug Varun simulating some attacks, and then there are some users at the end. So this is very easy to implement it. So this is inside the 365 portal. This is the protection portal. So inside the protection portal, we have the new attack simulator. And as you can see, there's quite a few different options now. So currently, we have 4 different ways of simulating attacks. So 2 types of spear phishing, which are either credentials or via attachments, and then either brute force attacks or just checking the strength of the passwords. So in this case, what we're interested in are the top 2. So the spear phishing one. Spear phishing is basically when there's a very targeted attack to try and get the person's credentials. And once they get the credentials, they can get in, work the land, and then try to mimic users and cause more havoc, which can be financial, which can be leaking of data, and so on and so forth. Can you play it? So let us test attack right now. So we go into launch attacks, and then you have the attack details. So this is the type, gives the description of this particular attack, and then there's history. Now you can go into this one. Can you pause for a second? So now we're in the particular type of attack. The first thing we do is we give it a name. Can you continue? And then you can also select a template. So if you don't want to start from scratch, there's some pre-built templates in there which you can choose from. So let us go with one called payroll. So this will be mimicking a payroll update. And then you can say, okay, these are the users that we want to target. You can select individual users, you can select a group of users, and so on and so forth. In this case, I believe we use 3 unlucky A's, and they'll be our test bench. So this way you can stagger your tests as well. So rather than going company-wide, you can go office-wide, and so on and so forth. Can you pause here for a second? So this is the part where you start doing more of the configuration. So you can change how the attack will look like. So what is the source email address where it comes from? What is the source domain? The page where it's trying to take you to, what does that page's URL look like? What does the email's header look like? So obviously, because we're using a template, there's a lot of pre-populated data already, but you can completely customize it according to your needs. You can get this data probably from the campaign view. So these are the campaigns that have been targeting your company. So you can mimic something similar here to see how users are basically reacting to those without having some major impact. Can you play the? Yep. Again, you can have custom landing URL pages as well. So if a user clicks a link, it can take to a custom page, which can say your organization runs, or like you require further training or something like that. You don't know, yeah. So in the email, you can completely edit this. This is the basic one which comes with it. You can change the images, you can change the links, and so on and so forth. Now, once we're all done, we can confirm, and then we can finish. And this will then run the first simulation. Now, this is from the user's end. The user goes to the link, clicks on it, they go into our custom URL, and this looks like a Microsoft website, but it is actually not one. So this is actually a counterfeit website. The user they think it's okay. They haven't seen the URL at the top, which is not portal.office. They go and enter the password, and then they are taken to the custom landing page where they're being told, okay, that you were just victim to a phishing attempt, and this is how to tell a phishing attempt or whatever. And you can customize that landing page. It could be talk to this person now or something like that. So if you go back into the admin view, into the attack simulator, now that one attack that one user was privy to, we can now see the data here. So the larger the number of users, the more data that we have and see. So we can see how many users got that email, how many people clicked through those, what was the time taken for that, and so on and so forth. And this sort of leads on into improving user behavior. So you have set benchmarks in your organization. There's where you run user training, and then you can run this attack simulator to see how people deal with that. And then if you see certain users have dealt with it particularly well, you give them another set of training, and a few months down the line, you check them another one of those down them, and then the cycle continues, because there are some users which refuse to change their ways. So more recent updates regarding these things. So as I said, with safe links and safe attachments, now there's safe documents in Office 365 as well. So if you've chosen the setup where attachment comes in and it's being scanned while the user is seeing it, they can have a preview mode of that Word file or an Excel or any Office 365 file as it's being scanned, which is being run in a sandbox environment within Microsoft. So if you have users who complain that, okay, it's taking too long or something like that, they can still have a look into the file while it's being scanned in a safe environment. And now this is becoming more and more integrated into Microsoft's automatic investigation and response. So this is part of their advanced threat protection suite as well.